Hello and welcome to the Wedding Dish Podcast. Grab your fork and knife and take a seat at our table as we dish on all things weddings. You'll hear stories and tips from real couples and wedding pros about love, life, and entrepreneurship. I'm Sarah Alapin, your host on the Wedding Dish Podcast and also the CEO of Photos from the Hardy and District Bliss. We do have our little French bulldog buddy sleeping here, half on, half off his bed. So you might hear his little snorosauruses. And today we are dishing with an international wedding photographer and videographer based in Germany. Jonathan, thank you so much for joining me on the Wedding Dish today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yes, I'm so excited to dig into some of these super fun questions and hear about your wedding expertise. So let's get into it. I know you're incredibly passionate about the power of capturing memories during weddings because that's really what you take with you. So, what is one of the most important things couples regret not capturing after the wedding is over?
Yeah, so especially in video, I feel like having people talk is such a powerful tool when it comes to remembering them. Like even the hardest thing is I remember 2 years ago, my great grandma died and she turned 101. It's crazy. But on her funeral day, my dad, he pulled out this video when she was 95. He interviewed her about her childhood for like half an hour and he cut it together to like a 10-15 minute video. And everyone was like, we didn't even know this existed. Like just having her, because she was really struggling around the hundreds, right? But just having her speak and tell stories about what happened, that's so personal, and you can see them moving, you hear them, and especially the audio is something like this the talked audio is something that really elevates how we remember something, right? So just like a song, like if I hear like Summertime Sadness, I am straight back into my last family holiday in Croatia with my family, just me lying in the what's it called? Like when you string something up between two trees.
Hammock?
Yes, me in my hammock, just reading this series of books and listening to Summertime Sadness on repeat. It just takes me back there instantly. And the same way it is with like people saying something, right? So I feel like the audio of the day is, for me, especially in video, the most important thing. The thing that I put my whole story around. So I'll have bits and pieces of the speeches, of some interviews, of the ceremony. Oh, I have some trees in me still, and I just came home from a couple shoot, and that's something really, really important. And to the video, I will always also deliver like all the speeches and ceremony uncut, just so in 40 years' time, like imagine maybe your parents passed away, right? And you can hear your dad's speech once again and him talking about your childhood, how you grew up, how much he loves you. And that's such a, yeah, such a powerful memory that I wouldn't want to miss. And having that, I think, is invaluable. And I think that's something that a lot of couples might miss when they think about their wedding day, what they need. And also, if they take too much time for the couple shoot, the couple session, and they miss some time with their friends because they overplanned their wedding day. That's something that I've seen happen a couple of times where they feel like, I wish I would have actually shared those moments with my friends and family that I invited for this pretty expensive day. And if you can't calculate it down, every minute is pretty valuable. And it's the only day that you can decide who's there with you for the day, and all your most important people are with you there. So make the best of it. I know you can take some stunning pictures on that day, and it's very cool that you can and should do, but make the moments with your friends and family worth it and have that captured as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think a lot of times, especially in this era that we're in of, social media and sharing photos, sometimes I do think we over plan for the number of couples photos that we're going to need, and it can also be exhausting on the day of. I think there's I have lots of little tricks, you probably do too, to get people's
Oh yeah.
faces to start to like relax, but you do not know how tight your face is going to be after smiling, because you're smiling naturally too. Like you're having a great day in theory. Hopefully, that's my dream for you, listeners out there. And your face starts to really get tight if you're posing too much too. So I agree. I think, and it is so special to have those moments that you get to relive, even future generations. Like I would love to see that for my mom and dad. I would love to see their parents talking about how much they loved them, and that kind of thing. It's just really special to be able to see that. So I agree. I think those are really important. And to your point, it is also nice to include speaking in whatever that looks like. It could be, where you step off to the side with Jonathan and Jonathan does like an interview with each of your parents, or your parents together, or your grandparents together. It doesn't have to be like you have a slew of speeches during the dinner or anything like that.
Yeah.
It can be private. But I love that what you said here is just, it isn't just one parent talking, and it's not just a welcome speech. Um, I think, at our wedding, we had both of my parents speak because my mom really wanted to say something different from what my dad said. And I think that is really special as well. A lot of times we just, we pass it to the one that we think is traditionally supposed to speak. And it doesn't have to be that way. So I like that you pointed that out as well, because traditionally the mother of the groom isn't necessarily someone who would have had the platform.
Yeah. But my mom took it. Like she took it.
I love it. I love a strong woman. I
She
think that's
loves to
really
talk.
special.
If she hears this, she knows.
Love that so much. So, for those of us who haven't attended a wedding or event that incorporates videography, I think it can be a bit difficult to visualize what that actual process looks like on the wedding day. How does a hybrid team capture audio and motion without making the wedding feel like a film set?
Yeah, that's, I think, the biggest question in the whole space, the most important one as well, because you can definitely overproduce video. It's definitely possible. So for hybrid team, that's why 6 years ago I thought, well, cameras should be able to do it. I think the only thing stopping me from doing it is me. So I started trying it out on weddings where I was just booked as a photographer. So I started taking pictures at weddings 2017 and started filming 2020. And I wanted to make sure it doesn't feel any different to if I would just take pictures. So things that I have worked out for me right now is I have all my cameras connected through time code. It's like little boxes which tell the camera exactly what moment in time it is. And then I'll have one camera on me, usually with a zoom. And then I have one or two cameras depending on the venue. If there's like trees lining the ceremony, I'll have like little clamps where they're in the tree, so you wouldn't see them all the time. Worst case, if it's just an open field, I will have to put up one or two tripods. that's something to keep in mind. And I will have to edit them out in the photos afterwards as well. Um, but for audio, I'll have the efficient with their mic usually picked up on like a recorder. I'll have a backup recorder on the mic, like clipped onto the mic, like a small one, and then a backup one on the groom as well, because audio is, as I said, one of the most important things on the wedding day, and I wouldn't want that to be horrible. And then I do have on my main camera, I will have like a backup audio if they decide to. Every videographer hates this. If anyone is given the mic and they're like, I can do it without, right? And then they just place the mic on the ground behind them. And I'm like, you're not the groom, you don't have a mic. So I need to get close. So I definitely have like a backup mic on my camera where I can get close enough to have some audio at least. So my camera will look a little bit bigger than my photo setup, but not too much. I'm always trying to go with the smallest setup. I never use a 70-200. I never use any of the big bodies. I will always just use like A7 IV, A7 V. I do have I have some APS-C, like smaller bodies, because I feel like I can get into the action easier, and people wouldn't, like, if I came in with a big cine camera, everyone would be looking at me, and that's not what I want. I want people to enjoy the day, and I want to be in there. So I'll have the smallest setup, and for speeches, I'll have a longer lens on a tripod in the end of the room where no one's, because everyone's looking at the speech anyways, so I can be behind them. That's not a problem. But otherwise, it's just like a photography job for me. The only thing is sometimes you have to be in even further than the photographer. So I will always try to not be standing in people's ways, especially in the ceremony. But to capture it nicely, you need to be up close in video. You'll have to have those close shots. And that's a line that is difficult on every wedding day again and again. Where am I? Am I just jumping this and that side of the line? Is it fine? Is it not fine? But I think it's definitely possible. It is definitely harder if you have like a 2-3 man photo team and a 2-3 man video team, and you have six people running around. One of my colleagues, he just did a video in Indonesia, sorry. And it was him. He had 3 videographers there. It was another Thai team of 2 for video. Then it was a Japanese analog photography shooter. And then it was like a team of 3 for photography. And it was like, it looked stunning, but he sent me this behind the scenes shot of like 12 people during the couple shoot just holding their cameras down. And I was like, this feels like my worst nightmare, like remembering how photography workshops used to be. And yeah, but that's what the couple wanted. They can have it, but it's not what I would do.
That would not be my first choice either, as the couple, as a guest, or as the wedding team. But that is just my personal preference. Everyone should do what they want. But that would be distracting as a guest, too.
Yeah.
I feel like that would pull focus because you'd be like, what are all these people doing?
Yeah. No, I think
maybe not if you're not a wedding
team
vendor.
is 2.
Yeah,
I think always the perfect team is 2.
I
Maybe
agree.
if you want additional like drone footage or have like a dedicated audio person, maybe then 3. But I wouldn't want more than 2 people running around on the day.
Yeah, me too. I try to actually wear clothing that matches the venue.
Oh,
so that
crazy.
I can like blend into like be as ninja and invisible as possible. So if it's like, one of those like traditional colonial where it's like heavy wood
Hmm.
inside, like in the DC area, then I'm gonna wear something that's either brown or like a deep purple because that blends
Hmm.
really well. If it's outdoors, I'm typically wearing green, depending on where we are. I That way you are as invisible as humanly possible. I know a lot of
Man,
people, this is controversial because most people wear black. I do not wear black unless it's a
me
venue that
neither.
is black.
Yeah.
In which case I'm gonna wear black. But yeah,
I always say I'm a chameleon, but I'm not your level. That's mad. But I always try to match the style which they set in the dress code.
Yeah, me too.
Because I want more to feel like an extra guest than the venue. I think from my personality, I might tend more to be in the venue chameleon, but I feel like it's getting the better results if I'm an additional guest chameleon.
Yeah, I try to match their vibe too and their dress code as well. It's really handy when those things all work together.
And I definitely know some of my colleagues, and I do agree with them, is if you want to, like, for me, I'm not sure how it's for you, but I feel like every wedding gets you one good inquiry from a guest if you're doing fine,
Hmm.
maybe two. And the way you show yourself, that's I know this is not news, but the way you show yourself on the wedding day represents like how people like even on social media, the way you dress, people are like, would I want him at my wedding to look like this? Right? So I'm already breaking this rule by not wearing something weddingy. But they said if you want to attract the cool couples that you want to get, you need to dress like a cool couple as well on the wedding day.
Yeah.
So if you want the funky, edgy, cool guys, you need to dress funky, edgy, cool. If you want to get the suited up lawyers, whatever, you need to dress like them on the wedding day and on social media. Everywhere they see you, they'll be like, oh, yeah, I like that outfit. I would go to a wedding like that. If he comes to my wedding in that outfit, I'll be fine.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a really great point. I will not go down the rabbit hole of the bad things that I've seen because it's very
Oh,
tempting.
mm, mhm, mhm, mhm.
But I really, I a lot something else I want to kind of call out that you said without saying here is that the couple should one make the photography and videography team aware of each other's presence and
Mhm.
also connect them so that they can coordinate because it's easier for us to coordinate when things are not chaotic on the wedding day, just to at least establish that trust so that we can work together in a really cohesive manner and we aren't getting in each other's way by accident. Because, the wedding day is going to have some level of chaos for your wedding team. It's, I would say, out of hundreds of weddings that I've photographed, 90% of them have some sort of level of chaos. We're either running a little behind or somebody's running behind, like or the makeup team got in a car accident and is pulled over on the side of the highway, which happened.
Mhm.
Um, so you just can't anticipate if there will be. Great if there isn't, but usually there's something going on for us behind the scenes, even if it's just the meals didn't come out. So now we're like trying to stuff our face between
Yeah.
and we have like 2 minutes to eat. All of that just makes it a little bit harder for us to communicate on day up. So connecting in advance really helps the two teams be able to at least establish trust, if not kind
Yeah.
of get familiar with the other person's work. Oh, the awareness that we exist is also really helpful too. So going in who that person is, because you just see someone with a camera, you don't know if they're a guest, you don't know if they're who because they could very well be a guest that is just loves photography or videography. And you just approach that situation differently depending on who it is. So I think you sort of like, in the way you were talking about it, I could tell that that was what you were thinking. And I was like, we have to call that out because that is not something we've ever said on this show before, but it is really helpful to do.
Yeah. And especially having like experienced teams that have worked together before, that's a huge plus.
Oh yeah, that's such a plus.
Because I haven't had the problems too much because most of the time either it's me or it's me and my colleague that I bring,
Mhm.
but it's barely me and another team. Sometimes it is. Like I had a Korean wedding last year. Obviously, at the time, like Siri is not in Korean, and they brought out these like AirPods 2 Pro, whatever, that could translate, right? But they can only translate languages that are included in Siri. So I wanted to get them to understand anything because on the wedding day there was 3 people speaking English and 2 speaking German, and the rest was Korean only.
Oh,
And
gee.
the whole wedding was in Korean. And they're like, we would have liked you to be our videographer, but everything is in Korean. So we got this Korean wedding videographer. He flew in from Korea. And so it was us two. And he barely spoke English. And I fully understood that he was like, but we made it work. He was nice. But he didn't understand what I told him before the ceremony, which was a bit of a struggle at some parts.
Yeah.
But most of the time I didn't have problems, but I've heard some horrible stories from friends and colleagues that I know they're all very, very collegiate and they really want to just help each other out. I think the best thing is to work together at all times. But I've, yeah, I've heard of like photographers knocking over tripods or like moving tripods to other spots because they wanted to take pictures there. Photographers actually running into video setups not on accident and like just like crossing in front of the videographer just before the kiss. And I've heard things the other way around as well. But yeah, I don't get it. It's just,
Yeah. It's a bad experience for everybody at that point. Like I'm gonna change my setup, my lenses based on where I need to be so that I'm not in like the
yeah,
videographer's way. And yeah, like that's the kind of communication that you should have. So it's just disappointing when it doesn't go that way. But typically, I think most people that I work with, even if they forget it in the moment, because sometimes we're trying so hard to do our thing that we do forget in the moment, like, oh, I wasn't supposed to step right here.
sure, it
But
happens.
it does. And we all try, but we are all humans. And we are, sometimes the enthusiasm takes us and we forget that we discussed who we were going to be. I was on the left, you were on the right, or whatever the case may
Yeah.
be. But yeah, I think it's super important to be able to work together and adjust based on what each person needs, because we're there in service to the couple.
Yeah. We're not
Yeah,
there for us.
exactly. I think it's often difficult for couples to determine the length of a wedding video that they want. I think that this is like a huge mystery for people. So, why is the storytelling in a 5-minute film often more emotional than a 2 hour long video?
Yeah. I definitely don't offer 2 hour long videos. Um, I think video has one really specific superpower, and it's putting things down to the essence. So I offer 2 options. I offer the trailer, which is like a minute, maximum 90 seconds. And I offer a 5 to 7 minute film. And I used to offer 10-minute films, but I just decided if I cut it down, it's more work for me. Couples don't understand. Shorter videos are more work, except for a trailer. A trailer is maybe like 2/3 of the work of like a 5 to 7 minute video, but a 5 to 7 is definitely double the work of a 10-minute. So why it's so special is you can work with music, you can work with sound effects, you can move all the most important pieces in an order, because photos, I know you can order them in a gallery and it really makes a huge difference. But in video, you can have moments be slow, be fast, be wide, medium, very tight. You can get so close to like the ring or the water that's dripping, put a sound effect over it, and you get to feel it. You have music that really elevates the whole, like music is setting the whole tone of the video. So I always need to get what movies you're watching, what TV shows, what music you're listening to, what art you love. You need to get all of that, because then you can get this as like a pre-idea of this is how they work, this is what they are as a person, and then feel their wedding day and get this like 2-3 hour worth of like clips and stuff and compress that and compress it again and compress it again until you have the storyline that really feels like them. So you'll have like moments from each part of the day. You can combine them in like different orders, and you can jump through different things that still represent them as a person, because you don't only have like moments where, oh, whatever, Katie is so personal and she hugs everyone, right? You will have different parts of the day where it's like her like holding her sister's hand, her dad like deeply embracing her, and then like a wide shot of her and her husband just standing there. And you can put that into perspective throughout the day and describe their personality, and also describe the day through, as I said, the audio. The audio is most important. And then you can just, it's like building the audio, putting music under it, then layering the visuals on top and adding some sound effects and very nice color grading. And you will have something that is going to take you through the whole emotions of the day, tell you what those people are like from a person that's only barely met you. But you can get so deep with this because all the people represent the couple. The whole day represents the couple. And if you can get that in a 5 to 7 minute video, you can take them on a roller coaster, right? You can start off hot, go like really slow, build up this like tension a bit, then make it drop a little again, and then go to some like highlight and end up in party, right? It's something that can take you on a ride that you can just pick out of your pocket at any point in time and be like, I have 5 minutes now. Someone wants to see something from my wedding, or I had this guy last year. I shot a testimonial video of them last year. I did their wedding 2 years ago. And he was like, he's traveling a lot for work. And sometimes when he's like missing home, missing his wife and their dog, and he's like, why do I do this? Like, I'm struggling right now. I'm just sitting in a hotel room in the middle of nowhere, whatever, working on this project. And then he just pulls out his wedding video, and he's like, this just represents us so much. And it reminds me of who I am and what I'm doing this for. And I think that's beautiful that something can do this, because I would love to think that my couples take a look at their albums or their galleries like once or twice a year, but they don't, because it takes so much time. You have your like 10, 15 favorite pictures. that you take a look at every once in a while, but you can't sit down for 6 hours like regularly on an evening to take a look at the whole gallery. But what you can do is watch the trailer for a minute, watch the video for 5 minutes. That's something that's way easier to do and is sending you through the emotions.
I love that. And it's so true. I could not agree more. Jonathan, thank you so much for joining me on the Wedding Dish today. Where can our listeners find you online?
You can basically find me on any platform, or my website is also pretty findable. It's jonathanschüßler.com or Jonathan Schüßler on all the platforms. And I do have a German wedding podcast, and I do marketing in the winter. So I have another brand called Schüßler, where I help service-based businesses find some paying clients. But yeah, if anything interests you that I just said, you have any questions, hit me up. I'm more than happy to talk to everyone.
Love it. And we will, of course, tag you on Instagram at the Wedding Dish Podcast and in the show notes. So it's super easy for you all to navigate back and get in touch with Jonathan. And you can find us online at theweddingdishpodcast.com, where you can apply to be a guest, get all kinds of great info and all kinds of good stuff. And don't forget to tune in next week. We have another amazing guest coming on. And if you like the podcast, give us a follow, rate, and review on your preferred podcasting platform. Jonathan, thank you again so much for joining me today. Until we meet again, cheers.